Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? I'm going to start with this message from Jim Turner because there are geographic differences apparently. Jim says, "Morning, peeps." He says, "Happy birthday to you. We went to the zoo. We saw a fat monkey. We thought it was you. Happy birthday, Mark." Thank you very much indeed, Jim. And I know that's a thing you sing in your family. Here, we don't go to the zoo. It's happy birthday to you, squash tomatoes and stew. Yeah. I have no idea what the squash, tomatoes, and stew should be, but I've no idea. Let's have a look what we got here. Mark Whiting's here saying happy birthday. Dan Cullen is here saying happy birthday as well. I've already had a message from our man Jim, our man Gary. Oh shit, it's Thursday. It is. Listen, Dan, you're as confused as I am because, frankly, it's not Friday, but today is the end of the week as far as I'm concerned, at least for this show. I've got other things to do, but it is the end of the week. So I understand your confusion entirely. Must be finished by 12 today. Must be finished by 12. Must be finished by 11, maybe 5 past. I've got places to be, people to see. So, yeah, bear that in mind. Very, very quickly. For those of you that listen in on our recap, our podcast over on buymeacoffee.com/demolition news, the AI that I use to produce that has added a new feature. Normally what I do is go for like an audio, I think they call it an audio overview, and it generates 2 people talking about the subject matter of today's morning monologue, plus all of your comments and feedback and everything else. It amalgamates all of that and discusses it. As of last night, the system is now able to turn it into a debate. Yeah. So rather than kind of just recapping, which is why it's called the recap, rather than just recapping everything that we discussed, it will now take counter and pro and con stances on it. I tried it out last night, and I have to say, well, 2 things. First thing is the voices that I got last night, and I have no control over it, they were British and they sounded better for it. But the second thing was it actually turned up some bits and pieces that I thought, yeah, I wish I'd thought of that when I was discussing it. So if you are that way inclined, if you do like a podcast, check out today's recap, which, if it works well, we might end up renaming the debate. I don't know. We shall see. There's Gary. Good morning, guys, and happy birthday, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. Dan saying, wow, that's cool. Yeah, it is, absolutely. As I say, I got notification that there's a new capability on the AI. I thought, I'll give it a try. I put it into it yesterday's morning monologue, and it came back and it said, well, this Mark Anthony bloke said this, but what about that? Well, he said this. Yeah, but what about that? It's really quite good. So stick it. Well, if you're part of our WhatsApp group, you'll get a notification just before I head off to Leeds that's available for you to listen to. Also want to do a very quick piece of news today. So I'll tell you what, without further ado, let me roll the intro and get this show on the road. It is Thursday, the 26th of February. Sorry, my phone just buzzed. Welcome to the Breakfast Show, the final break show, in fact, before I go off to Conexpo. So make the most of today because you've got a couple of weeks without my happy smiling face. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition, the Lord High Chancellor of live streaming, and I've already said the Walrus of Demolition, but there you are, just to prove it, and the authentic voice of the global demolition industry. In today's show, it's a sunny day for Hyundai, which will make complete sense when you see the host of that segment. We're going to be getting our teeth stuck into Liebherr. These cats may not have 9 lives, but they definitely have more than one, which is kind of a clue to where we're going with that. And in our final countdown to Conexpo series, sponsored by the fine folks at A&B Crusher, we're looking at Case Grade metrics. Yeah, grade metrics. Never heard of it before, but I'm going to tell you all about it a bit later on. Plus, in my final morning monologue, pre-Con Expo, the age of unsustainable construction. Yeah, listen, I realize all these other outlets talk about sustainable construction. Well, I'm here to set the record straight. Kinda. It'll all make sense when we get there. Let's have a look. What do we got in the chat? Nigel Williams is here. Good morning and a happy birthday, my friend. Thank you very much indeed, Nigel. Much appreciated. Mercy JD say happy birthday. Listen, thank you. Thank you. I don't recognize the name, but thank you very much indeed. Oh no, the last one for 2 weeks is not quite 2 weeks. I'm away all of next week, and then I'm back on the Tuesday. So it's about a week and a third or thereabouts. Chris Ford is here as well. Morning, gang. Time flies when you're having fun. Are we having fun yet? You will let me know when that begins, will you? Mick Norton is here as well. Good morning, all from a rain-sodden Wakefield. Yeah, I realise this is a very sad confession, but I'm going to say it anyway. Whenever I'm attending an event, like I'm doing tomorrow, I must admit, I kind of plan my outfits days, weeks, and sometimes even months in advance. And I've got an outfit planned for tomorrow, which includes a pair of very light grey trousers. I'm a 9-minute walk from the hotel to the venue of the IDE event, and apparently it's going to be raining. Now, I've got a long coat. I'll be fine, but I've got a funny feeling that I'm going to be light grey down to about the knees and then dark grey below the knees. Bloody weather. Dan saying it's cold and dry here. Mick Norton saying many happy returns of the day. Ken Hatcher has got cloud and rain and cloud and rain and cloud. Okay. And Gary saying chicken and chorizo pie in the packed lunchbox today. I've got to be honest. I don't think this makes me a weird person. You can, if you add chorizo or chorizo to anything, it is immediately improved. Like I was in a hotel once, and they actually had they were serving a full English breakfast, but they also had fried chorizo sausage. God damn, that's some good stuff. Makes your eggs go a bit red, but it's fantastic. Ken, thank you very much indeed for that. And don't forget your flasher Mac. Jim, I never leave home without it. Right, let's crack on. Let's have a bit of news, shall we? Now, this one is a little bit old. It completely passed me by, but it was flagged up to me yesterday. I think Dan Cullen put it over on our WhatsApp group, and I do want to revisit it because it is ridiculous. The CITB, Construction Industry Training Board, has told contractors that it has no more money for training courses. I realise that's quite a rage-baity type of headline, but when we go in a little bit further, run out of funding for training courses booked under its Employer Network Initiative. Contractors are now being told no training bookings can be made until after the 31st of March, leaving firms in limbo for more than a month. Apparently, following the recent increase in employer network EN uptake, the EN allocation for this financial year is now fully committed. As a result, we're unable to accept any new EN bookings for delivery up to and including the 31st of March. Now, taken at face value, when I first saw that, my immediate thought was, how do you run out of money? The CITB is in a very envious position in that it takes in money via its levy. So it basically gets paid in advance, and then it trickles it back out in the form of training. I was kind of willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because apparently this is very specific to this employer network training, which I know absolutely nothing about. However, scroll down to the bottom of just bearing in mind, they've run out of money. They can't fund EN bookings until the 31st of March, okay? Scroll down to the bottom of the article. The CITB is currently sitting on £50 million plus of unspent reserves collected from the industry levy. Does anybody else think that's a little disingenuous? We've got 50 million quid in the bank, but we can't afford to put on training for another month. Anybody willing to defend them for it? What do we got here? Loads of people have just arrived. Let's have a look. Gary, you have a great canteen. Dan says, "What is it?" Well, I'm going with the Spanish chorizo. Chorizo. It's probably chorizo. 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 Nigel Williams, however you spell it, not a fan. Dan is saying it's that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Steve. Many thanks. When are you off, mate? When are you off? And where are you staying, by the way? Are you back in your usual haunt, or are you going somewhere else? Mick Norton says, today's attire in Wakefield, a see-through Packamac. Well, be still my beating heart. I can only imagine. Chris Ford says, have a great birthday, Mark. You don't look a day older than tomorrow. I bet I do. Nigel says, I always find that chorizo overpowers all the flavours. I'm not one for gravy much either. I actually appreciate the notion of it being overpowered because I love the taste of paprika. Steve Williams says, what day are you flying? We're actually flying out on Sunday. Not here tomorrow because I'm doing this Institute of Demolition Engineers spring seminar. Dog to kennels, final bit of packing on Saturday, jump on the plane on Sunday. We're leaving here around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we actually arrive about 7:30 at night. So we'll have gone sort of round the clock a bit, and with the time difference and everything else. So that's when we're landing. Ken Hatcher is actually going to be there. Ken, prepare the way for me, would you? Go and let them know that I'm arriving and that it has been my birthday. It's unreal how much they're worth and what they're blowing it on. Yeah, blowing it all on staff. I think is part of and salaries and dividends for the directors. Sitting on 50 million. Yeah, imagine being sat on 50 million and saying to those that you provide training for, no, sorry, not for another month, because let's have a look. Sunday, 4 p.m, staying at the Westgate, nice and close. Drone is packed this time. 2 weeks in Vegas. Fantastic stuff. If you're are you on the Sunday flight out of Gatwick? In which case, we may well be on the same plane. Jim says all these organisations, including councils, like to hold afloat to gain interest on it. It's not right or honest. They aren't supposed to be investment companies. Listen, I fully understand the idea of investing. I know the Lighthouse Club got caught out with that. They invested in some stuff that didn't really make them any return. In fact, I think it caused them a loss. But 50 million. What do we got? Be careful jumping on that plane. It's a long reach and jumping. And then Ken says, you've got a plane full of boys off to the show on Sunday. Yeah, I hope we have. Be interested to see who pitches up for that. It always amuses me, despite the fact that it's Con Expo, we're all going to the same place for exactly the same reason. You get on a plane, it's like, oh, didn't expect to see you here. Well, you should have done, because we're all going to the same place. I thought Vegas was from Heathrow now. I'm fairly sure we're going out of Gatwick. I know we did last year, but I'll keep you posted. Fred has been travel agent on this one, so fingers crossed. Right, let's crack on. We've done our bit about the CITB. Let's have a bit of Caterpillar pulverizers, and then I'm going to introduce you to a lady called Sunny. Very quickly, I don't want to turn this show into a travel agency, but I will say this. Heathrow is where Steve is flying from. He's got a lounge booked for a few of us. We did that for the last Con Expo. We actually had the lounge. And I've got to be honest, I don't want to put you off. And I know you'll be flying down from Bonnie, Scotland, and then probably having to meet up and then going on. So I fully understand, and I'm sure you'll have a fine time. Ours was crap. Absolute crap. So there were 4 of us. We arrived, and we'd prepaid, showed a ticket or whatever it was. We went in, got a drink, and okay, we've got ourselves a little booth here, and we'll go and grab some food in a minute. Just getting ready to go and grab some food, and a woman came over and said, I think it was British Airways staff are coming in here. You'll have to leave. So we moved another booth. Literally 10 minutes later, they came along and said, "Oh, you've got to move again." Yeah, bloody nerve. Nigel Williams says the CITB is a bit meh. Funding always runs out around now. The problem is we have the card partners who seem unwilling, unable, uninterested in setting up the future of training and catching illegitimate cards. Yep, totally agree. If you were here, well, in actual fact, I can't remember what I called the damn thing. Bear with me 1 second. What was that called? Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in just a moment. Yes, if you were here for our evening show on the 17th, 18th of this month, we hosted a nighttime show with CM Labs, and we were talking about digitizing competence and possibly replacing some training with simulator-based training and all of that kind of stuff. And I mentioned the fact that there'd been some issues with CSCS, doing away with grandfather rights and everything else. And I got a pretty snotty letter back or email back from them. If you go over to Demolition Insider demolitioninsider.substack.com, there's an article there called Digitizing Competence. And at the end of it, there is actually a video. I turned the email into a video. You could listen to what CSCS have got to say about it. Do you know what one you booked? No, I don't. And apparently we are going out of Heathrow. It's his age. Well, I'm a man of advancing years, particularly today. So my apologies. We may well see you at the airport, Steve. Yes, right. Hyundai. There is a lady called Sunny Yee. I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing that right, but she's about to give you a guided tour of one of the new Hyundais. Check it out.
Hey y'all, I'm Sunny, and this is Hyundai's all-new next-gen excavator. It's built to raise the bar for power, comfort, and control. It's packed with smart tech, all-new refined hydraulics, and a cab that feels just like your favorite truck. Let's jump in and figure it out. First step, payload weighing. Right from the bucket, you get accurate material weights, so you optimize every truckload and avoid guesswork. No more overloads and no more lost revenue. Next, driving and steering like you've never seen on an excavator. With programmable joysticks and simplified travel controls, steering and travel feel intuitive. Less fatigue, more control, and more job done. Inside, the cab features dual tablet-style HD monitors that are crisp, clear, and customizable. Your data, diagnostics, control modes are all right there. The machine becomes part of your workflow, not just a tool. For precision jobs, there's a 2D machine guidance and e-boundary setting. Whether you're controlling bucket angle, setting travel limits, or defining a virtual work zone, this excavator helps avoid overdig, underdig, or unintended encroachment. So smart job site control. Under the hood is the new Hyundai Stage 5 compliant engine. More torque, better fuel economy, lower emissions, and with extended service intervals, you spend less time parked and more time moving material. And finally, lift assist. You get a visual map of safe lifting zones. Standard 4-quadrant with optional 8-zone precision. You lift smarter, you lift safer, and loads go where they should with confidence. And that's Hyundai's next-gen excavator, built to help you work smarter, stay comfortable, and stay safe. If you're ready to experience next level comfort and control, visit your local Hyundai dealer and see it for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next job.
Right. The chat has been going absolutely mental since that started. Nigel Williams, going back to the Cat Quick Coupler. Bring back the direct mount muncher. You lose so much power and speed with hydraulic pulverizers. Sadly, I'm old enough to remember that they were all that there was. They were all there was back in the day. Sorry, I misread that completely. Stephen Probert, good morning. Stephen says, Steve Williamson, Monday. I don't know what that means, but I'm passing it on nonetheless. Steve Williamson says, everyone passes their ticket. We're talking about CSCS here and CITB. If they show a lot of failed operators, it looks bad on the training coming. People go to get a guaranteed ticket. Don't think I've ever heard of one fail. Steve also goes on to say, what time is your flight? 16:05. I think it is. You'll be able to see me. I'll be the confused looking person over in the corner. Dan says, always takes the lady of the house to keep you right. Yeah, thank you very much indeed for pointing out the fact that I was going completely arse about face Ruth. Thank you so much for that. Impressed how these look. Cab is a lot better than the bigger brands, although he does go on to say looks like a Volvo. Which, excavator wise, is that peak cab right now, the latest Volvo excavators? I'm thinking it probably is. Okay, weight control, but how accurate is it? Bearing in mind they're all electronic and driven by sensors and AI and everything else, I would imagine pretty damn accurate. Steve, that's exactly what I thought. An Asian copy of the Volvo. Could well be. There you are. And my other half is confirming we will be on the same flight. Nigel Williams. Oh, and the CM Lab Sims are featuring in a bit of a presentation I'm putting together to prove competency of operators before they ever get in the seat, and maybe even on an induction to save wasted time and effort on blaggers. Well, fair play. If that evening show achieved nothing at all, it achieved that. So well done, that man. Well done indeed. The patent must have run out on the EC300 Volvo. Do you think that's how it? I mean, I realize it's a standing joke within the industry of it used to be the Japanese, then it was the Koreans, now it's the Chinese. You know, you launch a new machine out of Europe or out of America and go to a Con Expo, and there's lots of little Chinese people taking photographs up and under it and stuff like that to copy it. I wonder if there's any of that actually looking at patents. Oh, it's running out. We could have that in a minute. I wonder if that happens. Jim says, handy if you have no legs. But if you have legs, why wouldn't you use the pedals? I wonder if that's part of not encouraging, but part of accommodating the next generation. I remember thinking when I first experienced the Caterpillar stick steer, which I was absolutely fucking terrible with. The first time I used the stick steer, as I say, confused the hell out of me. But I thought, if somebody's been raised on, game controllers and joysticks and stuff like that, they will swallow that whole. It'll be a walk in the park for them. I wonder if that's the case. I wonder if we've bred a generation that control things like that. I don't know why I'm doing that. That's not how you do it. With thumbs and fingers and stuff. I wonder if that's the case for that. Dan says, Steve, I heard a few fails, but nothing extraordinary. No, funny part is there's so many blaggers out there. Ain't that the truth? Nigel Williams says, Alan Emosh of CM Labs inspired me. He says, I'll let him know about that. Was chatting to Volvo yesterday. Next show at the visitor center is for gamers. Should be interesting. It wasn't the last time. That's what it means. Gamer influencers wasn't the last time I was there. It was the time before, I think. And they mixed it up. So they had some people like me there, but they also had a couple of people, I think from like Farm Simulator. I think was one of the people they invited over. Have I still got his video here? No, I don't think I have. No, it's gone. It's gone, fallen off the planet. But DJ Goham. Do you remember DJ Goham? That was a fella. Right, okay, let's crack on because I do need to get out the door. Let's have a bit of this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Dan says, Jim, I know a few guys that don't use the legs on pedals and they struggle when moving to do having to do multiple movements. It's funny to watch. If we're pandering to the next generation, just make it handset compatible and they'll be sorted. It exists. I've said this before, but when we were in Czech Republic with Bobcat 2 years ago, Fred lives behind a camera, doesn't drive machines at all. I mean, I drive them very, very badly. He doesn't drive them at all. But somebody handed him the, I think it's the Razor control. So you slot your phone in and you operate it. He was driving a skid steer like he'd been doing it all his life. Yeah. I remove my handles on the pedals just in the way, he says. Steve says, the new Volvos have a joystick issue. Couple here had to get changed, so even the big brands still have issues. Nigel Williams, stick steer is second nature to me as a shovel driver. The Cats and Liebherr are phenomenal stick steer shovels, and the Cat track loaders are stick steer too, and no longer have pedal steer like they were. It's me. I'm a man that's easily confused. What can I tell you? Right. Okay. We've done Hyundai. We've done that. Let's talk about teeth with Liebherr.
At the heart of every mining operation is the excavator bucket. Every bucket load is critical, and every minute of downtime is a drag on profits. That's why Liebherr developed the ZG3 tooth system, the next generation of GET for plate lip application, designed to maximize productivity, reduce downtime, and keep your operation on schedule. Developed for excavators up to 400 tons, the ZG3 tooth system combines field-inspired innovation with uncompromised Liebherr engineering to deliver performance, maintenance efficiency, and durability even in the toughest conditions. The new self-sharpening tooth edge maintains peak penetration for optimal digging performance. With an improved wear material ratio, you get extended service life, reducing replacements, lowering operating costs, and boosting efficiency. The newly designed tooth comes with a pre-installed metal retainer and a Poka-Yoke locking hole, which ensures the pin is placed correctly for a secure, reliable fit. Our engineers have redesigned the adapter to deliver maximum durability through symmetrical load distribution. The adapter's nose features a large contact surface that minimizes plastic deformation, maintaining structural integrity and reducing maintenance frequency. Its spherical front design enables slight tooth movement during digging, effectively clearing fine materials between components. The advanced flush wear design improves material flow into the bucket, reducing wear cap and adapter wear, while the welded front protection shields against lower and side damage. An integrated wear indicator shows exactly when replacement is due. No guesswork, no wasted life. The hammerless locking system assembles in just 2 steps. Acoustic confirmation means you're locked in correctly, and disassembly is just as fast to ensure reduced downtime and maximize operational availability. With the ZG3 tooth system, Liebherr gives you predictable uptime, safer maintenance, and better performance at the mine face. Elevate your operation today.
Right, the chat continues. Let's have a look. Jim says this: every new starter I've had, I've bolted them every time I've seen them with their hands on the travel sticks. They've all thanked me for it. It's a bad habit to get into. Makes for a far less productive operator. Steve Williamson says the teeth for that machine probably cost the same as a new 30-ton excavator. I bet they bloody do as well. Nigel Williams, I like those adapter sleeves. Dan Cullen, looks a great setup, long overdue. Dan also says, wonder how long they would last in demolition environment. Tomorrow's last day on the site demo is completed now. Looking forward to the next project. Let me know where you end up. And Chris Roll says, hand-eye feet coordination. Has nobody driven a Hymac 580C or a JCB 8D? I would imagine that a few people in our midst probably have driven all of those things. Let's have a bit of this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Today's morning monologue is called The Age of Unsustainable Construction. I'll explain more when we get there, but this kind of ties in quite nicely with it. It's a bit of a continuing thread here on the show about the importance of maintaining machines and getting a second or possibly even third life out of them. And this is how Caterpillar go about it.
Cat Central is the gateway to what's coming in the future. It's really streamlined our ability to keep old stuff running.
They're digitally inclined. They're ready to go with it.
I feel like Caterpillar is definitely pushing that envelope when it comes to, technology.
Cat Central will have aspects added to it that we haven't thought of yet.
I think it's best in class.
Once I mention the fault code, I get the aha moment. And then they pull out their phone, they download it, and then they're really interested. That definitely takes the guesswork out of purchasing.
Cat Central saves us a significant amount of time.
I find it pretty easy to use. Everything on the home screen's all there and it's easy to scroll through.
Everybody wants quick, easy, and convenient, and that's what the app is. It's just taking all the tools and resources that CAT has and put it into one place so that it can help clients be successful.
It's just easier to have it all on one screen. It streamlines the whole process of getting from point A to point B. The right result in the quickest amount of time is kind of like the name of the game.
There you are. Now, going back to teeth, Gary Muirhead has just said this, and we need those up here. We're going through a set of bucket teeth every week. That's a costly old business, isn't it? What are you actually digging in, Gary? Is there granite up where you are? Because that will absolutely eat teeth for breakfast. Dan, going back to his employment capabilities or his possibilities, got a few no positive outcomes, yes. Could be Plymouth, could be London, could be Milton Keynes. No response yet. I will keep my fingers crossed for you while I'm travelling. To all you that's travelling to Vegas, have a safe and enjoyable journey. Look forward to your return. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. If you are following us over on Instagram, anything that we can get up and out, it will be over there. But as I say, I'm going to be back Tuesday week. So that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning show. It also wraps up this show entirely for the next week and a half or thereabouts. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Hope to see you again very soon. In fact, I hope to see a couple of you in Las Vegas, if not at Heathrow, or both. We'll figure it out. If you do have the time and the inclination, however, I will be back after this. Over the past few years, let me try that again. Over the past few years, the term sustainable construction has slipped unseen into the industry vocabulary. It's a phrase that's come to represent a wide range of environmentally aware notions, from the use of sustainable materials through renewable energy to recovering and recycling materials before sending them back to work as part of the circular economy. In many instances, sustainability has become the primary directive in many demolition and construction projects. Contractors are now as likely to be grilled over their environmental commitment as they are about their health and safety track record. And yet, while we've seen the sustainability of materials and methods placed at the very forefront, we've actually seen the construction industry itself become even more unsustainable. We've seen demolition and construction company margins rendered increasingly thin. Competitive tendering, the ubiquitous race to the bottom, acts like an economic pasta machine, squeezing margins thinner and thinner until that pasta finally breaks. In the space of just 2 years, we've seen more than 8,000 demolition and construction companies hunted to extinction like the North American buffalo at the turn of the last century. It's surely clear for all to see that working for something close to nothing is unsustainable. And yet, with each new contract announcement, contractors fall over themselves to queue up to do precisely that. We apparently now operate with a mindset of, we're actually doing this job at a loss, but at least we beat our rivals to land the project. We have deliberately or otherwise created a bureaucratic backdrop that is utterly unsustainable. Even setting aside the rainforest worth of paper used to record every element of a demolition or construction project, we've created an administrative landscape so complex that we now employ people purely to oversee it. Either that, or we're forced to call upon the services of third-party consultants. Those admin departments, legal experts, and external consultants are a drain on the bottom line. They're a cost. Now, admittedly, they are vital and they make an important contribution to the successful winning and delivery of a demolition or construction project. But their presence speaks to a creeping and unstoppable tide of bureaucracy that is equally unsustainable. Also unsustainable is our current attitude to the demolition and construction workforce. As an industry, we've pushed tens of thousands of workers into self-employment just to get them off the books and to make our workforce flexible enough to withstand the highs and lows of the workload cycle. We claim that workers are our greatest asset, yet we treat them as a commodity or a necessary evil. They're paid the minimum possible, work like dogs, and treated like they're expendable. And still, we're surprised when they leave, either for a more understanding and compassionate firm in the industry or by quitting the industry altogether. At the same time, we are collectively doing virtually nothing to replace them. Even with the very future of the demolition and construction industry hanging in the balance due to an ever-deepening skill shortage, we continue to sit on our hands in the hope that someone, somewhere, will figure out how to make this sector more attractive to a younger generation that actually sees it for what it is: demanding, dirty, and dangerous. And the age of unsustainable construction doesn't end with companies and people. It's an often unspoken part of the equipment debate too. We all want to be seen to be green, so we're quick to embrace machines powered by ever cleaner Stage 3, Stage 4 and Stage 5 diesel engines. Despite the additional cost and the sheer pain in the arse of it, we adopted AdBlue. The arrival of HVO fuel set the industry hearts aflutter, and when the boffins said first electric and then hydrogen, we all sat up like obedient Labradors, eager for a treat. Despite all of this, we'll still happily fly around the world to attend industry exhibitions to get that important first glimpse of a new machine. We'll trade in a perfectly good machine because the lease is up or because the last maintenance bill was a bit more expensive than the one before. We'll buy a machine that is made on one side of the world using components from the other side of the world before shipping it halfway round the world. And all the while we convince ourselves that this sleek new machine with its super clean, low emission engine makes us some environmental warrior. In truth, if the stewardship of the planet were our primary Bad day today. In truth, if the stewardship of the planet were our primary goal, we would have stuck with that existing machine. But appearing green is way more important than being green. And so we buy that new machine and create a Godzilla-sized carbon footprint that no amount of HVO could ever erase. There's an irony in all of this. In the not too distant future, we could have sustainable buildings and sustainable homes built by supposedly sustainable equipment running on sustainable fuels. And yet the industry responsible will be depleted and dying. Depleted and dying because, as it turns out, sustainable construction is unsustainable. Apologies for all the slip-ups there. You'd never know that I wrote that. All came as a surprise to me today for some reason. I do apologise. Let's have a look over at the chat. Wouldn't it be hilarious if you were all seated next to each other? Won't make a blind bit of difference to me because I shall be fast asleep. Early discussion on the demise of motorised scraper. A scraper in the hands of a novice is slow, rough, and inefficient. A towed or motorised scraper in the hands of a skilled operator is poetry. Poetry, he says, and I agree 100%. Well, I've yet to see sustainability in construction. All talk and no action. Yes, it is precisely that. Nigel says, have you been reading my mind again, Mr. A? Yes, I basically sit here and absorb. That's exactly what I do. Our friends over at LC International are here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, Mark, and the crew. You're the crew, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Dan says, I bet that's why a lot of companies are going under. They took on jobs underpriced, actually draining their accounts. Yeah. There is this weird idea of we've got to keep the wheels turning, we've got to keep doing all of these things, and I understand that. I fully appreciate the reasoning behind it. But if it's costing you money to do the job, why are you doing the job? It makes no sense at all. No sense at all. And I do think part of it is, in this industry, we're bred to be competitive. There's a project up for grabs. I must have that project because if I don't get it, one of my rivals will get it. So I will undercut and I will undercut and I will undercut to the point where I'm actually making a loss. And yet we kind of comfort ourselves in, well, we got the job. It's going to cost us money, but at least our main rival didn't get it. Based on that, your main rival didn't want it. That's the lunacy of it. Mick says, hi, Mac 580C. I once operated, had a huge hole burned out of the operator's door to cater for the excessive play on the levers. Yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Right, people. As I say, I'm very, very limited for time today. So I am going to have to love you and leave you. Our recap today, as I say, it is going to be more in the form of a debate. Be interested to see what it comes up with when I do that. Look after yourselves while I'm away. Don't want anything untoward happening to any of the audience. You're all valued members of the team here, so look after yourselves. I will be back Tuesday week with tales to tell and photos and videos to share. So look out for that. If you do follow us over on Instagram, look out over there as well. If I get an opportunity and if I can find enough decent Wi-Fi connection, I will put some stuff in the WhatsApp group as well. So keep an eye on that as well. Jim says sustainability without mass investment and ideally debt is shunned by government. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Weirdly, encouraged by government, you must be sustainable, so long as it doesn't cost us anything. Weird, right? Dan says, wow, that is some monologue. Well done. Actually surprised at more. Stay safe and enjoy your time. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. I'm going to love you and leave you. Let me go and pack my bags, head for Leeds. I'll see you all in a week and a half. Take care.